Good morning, everybody. Ooh, there's a little fruit fly like right in my face just as I'm starting. That's fun. Good times. And there, you probably just saw it. It was flying around there. Hey. How are you? How are you? It's Saturday. That's always fun for some people. Unless you're working, then it's not so fun. Unless you love your job, then maybe it is fun. I don't know. Actually, maybe it's fun no matter what, or maybe it's not fun even if you're not working. Who knows? I'm not gonna pass judgment. Whatever. I hope you have an amazing day no matter what. I hope you have an amazing day no matter what. Okay, so what we're gonna talk about, feeling good and feeling right times discernment. So applying discernment to all of this stuff, because that's pretty much what it always comes down to. So I'm gonna obviously give you context and backstory, because like I can't just like start randomly. Oh, I could randomly start talking, but I like context. I like giving you so you know where I'm coming from, so you know where this is coming from. So this morning in my stories, I was just rambling, talking, and I was talking about how late it is. It's 7:11 in the morning right now. It's 7:11 in the morning. It's Saturday though, so like whatever. I don't have to get Charlie off to school or anything like that. I'm not in any rush. But I was just talking about how late it is, and how I'm doing this a lot later. How I'm accepting slowing down in the morning, especially amidst my lateness. When I used to be behind schedule, whatever schedule or routine I'd created for myself, I would always freak out. Oh, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this. I need to get all the things done, and I need to make sure, like, blah, 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 like, and I would just always be going, and I'd freak out, and I would get frustrated, and I would get stressed, and my anxiety would start to spike, and all these things, right? And so I was really talking about embracing slowing down and not reacting like that to any of this anymore. And what I do now is, there are still things that need to get done. Like, not today, but during the week, I have to take Charlie to school, and I have to be ready to take him to school, and he has to be there at a certain time. So that's going to stay in my schedule. But everything else can just like, whoosh. It's flexible, and you have to see it that way. And I was always so rigid in what I wanted to get done that I didn't allow for that flexibility, which didn't allow me to relax, right? Flexibility versus rigidity. One is relaxed and one is definitely not relaxed, right? So I was always in that rigid state. But this morning I was just talking about how I prioritize. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do I need to do? What do I need? What do I want? What is gonna bring me fulfillment? What's gonna feel good, but what also feels right? Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm gonna postpone dropping my kid off at school, because that doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to fuck up that, right? But my focus is always on feeling good, right? So I want to make sure I meditate, right? I'm going to make sure I meditate. I have time for my meditation. But how much time I dedicate to my meditation, that's going to vary. Maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's 20 minutes on days that I'm a little bit behind, but I'm still going to do it. Whereas days where I have a little bit more time or I'm in a better flow, I'm usually meditating for like an hour, maybe sometimes more. It depends what time I get up, right? But I'm still going to make sure that that's a priority. I'm going to make sure that happens. Exercise. I'm doing like a weightlifting program, and my body needs a little bit more rest. So exercise is still a priority, and I make sure that I get that done because it feels good, right? And this is where we're going to go off on a little tangent. I'm just going to talk. It feels good, but days that I'm busy, I probably work out maybe 4 or 5 days a week now. I take a couple of rest days because I can feel that my body needs it. And that feels right. It feels good to lift weights, but I also need to use discernment. And figure out, is that what my body needs in that moment? Right? So although something feels really good, and I love lifting weights, and I love the results that I get, and I love like the muscle gains, everything, I love it, it feels so good, there are days where it doesn't feel right. And it's not only because I'm behind. That's one example. It's something that I might not prioritize, but it's also something that doesn't always feel right to push myself to do within that structure of what I've given myself in the morning, So I figure out what I want to do. What are my priorities? What are my priorities? What are the things that you have to do? You have to go to work. You have to take your kids to school. Whatever those things are that you have to do. But what can you wiggle around? Where can you become more flexible? Right? Where can you become more flexible? And you need to set your priorities. And the only way that you are ever going to set your own priorities is to go in here and figure it out. And I recommend you meditate. That's why I meditate. It helps me figure my shit out. It really does. So go meditate, maybe. Go meditate, or go sit and think and ponder. Make a list. What matters? I like making schedules. I love making schedules. So I go into Excel. I create this Excel spreadsheet. You guys can do Google Sheets or whatever, and I put out times along the side in 15-minute increments from when I want to wake up, from when I expect to go to bed, and then I fill in all the things that I have to do, school pickup, school drop off, whatever, and then I plug in all the things that I want to do, right? And then I figure out, what are my priorities? What are the things that I absolutely want to keep in there, and what can I shuffle around? And once you start to build a routine, you got comfortable in that routine, then you can figure out where you can move things around. But the trick is always going to be, don't be frustrated, don't be so rigid in it that you start to because in the end, always that mental and emotional calmness will serve you so well through life. It really will. It really will. And it's not necessary. It's an extra expenditure of energy, not necessary. You're going to get yourself riled up. You're going to be in this emotional, mental, frazzled state, and things are going to start bothering you, because when you're already in that sort of space, then anything that happens going forward is going to have that emotion, that mental state applied to it, right? Anything that you can do to stay even keeled and not go on those spikes, the dips and the highs, like, no, the highs are okay. The highs are so much fun when you feel so elated and happy. It's okay. But the dips are what you want to worry about. Don't pull yourself. Like, don't get sucked. Don't get sucked into those cycles. Don't get sucked into those cycles. And you really need to do that by finding the peace within yourself, no matter what's going on, no matter if you're running late, no matter if something's on fire, no matter what. You have to just find that balance. So that's a tip. Prioritize. Figure out what your priorities are, where your values truly do lie. And once you know yourself and you're able to figure out what resonates with you and what feels good, but what also feels right based off of the situation, then you can kind of go with the flow. You can figure out how to go with the flow, right? You'll know instinctively that this is what I want to do and this is what I need to do, versus I need to do everything, or I'm just going to like literally throw my hands in the air and do nothing because I'm so stressed out and frustrated. I'm freaking out. And then you get into that state. Have you ever been there? I've been there, where you freak out and then you don't do anything. You're like, what the fuck? I'm freaking out, and like there's all this shit, and then you just like drop the ball on everything, right? It's there's so many different things that could happen, different scenarios, but in the end, what needs to get done, focus on those first, and prioritize the rest. What are your priorities? My priorities are self-care, feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling mentally and emotionally stable, because I've been on the opposite end of the spectrum and I do not want to ever go there again. My children, they're my priority, and then building, like, you know, there's stuff like building my business is a priority, absolutely, but the things within that some stuff can get done later versus some stuff can't, right? So I do my healing sessions in the morning, and that's a priority. I have to do them in the morning because that's when I have the quiet time. So I usually merge it into my meditation, which is again where I become flexible. If I have a healing session to do, I'll meditate for less time, and then I'll use the rest of the time to do my healing, right? But that's something that needs to happen in the morning because I need the quiet time to record the videos for my clients, right? However, anything else related to that, maybe that can wait until after I get back from the school drop-off, right? There are things that I have on my list, of my little checklist of things that I want to do before the school drop-off, but if I'm running behind, I need to give myself the flexibility, and it's okay. And that's probably what you're going to do anyways. You're probably thinking, well, yeah, if I'm running behind, I'm just going to move the stuff to the afternoon anyways. Like, that's what normal people do. Yes, that's what normal people do, but normal people also freak out about it, and they get into bad moods, and they get irritated, and they get frustrated, and that's what I'm fucking telling you not to do. Don't get irritated or frustrated. That's what all this comes down to. Focus on what feels good. Focus on what feels right. It's going to change moment by moment. Just like my little exercise thing I talked in the beginning, it's going to change. Feeling good is exercising and lifting weights. It feels fucking amazing and I love it, but it's not always feeling right, especially when my body is tired, especially if I'm tired, especially if I have like an injury. I'm not going to start trying to do like lift heavy weights when my wrist is bothering me because I can't do that, right? So I'm going to alter. Maybe I will still exercise, but I'm going to do a different type of exercise. Might not be lifting heavy weights, which I love, but moving my body and feeling healthy, that's still my priority, and that's where it's at, right? Okay, cool. Lots of words. So many words. It's 7:20. I'm going to go work out. Speaking of, I'm going to go work out, and it's actually, it's booty day. It's butt day. It's called booty day in the program, but it's, yeah, booty day, butt day, whatever. Makes my ass feel fantastic. I like touching it. There's lots of muscle in there, you know. And it's okay. This is a side tangent that we can go on too. It's okay to be happy with your physical appearance. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. I wasn't happy with my physical appearance when I was 240 pounds. And you should be. No matter what you weigh, no matter who you are, you should always love yourself, no matter what. But even if you are on a fitness journey, if you have changed, don't let that old version of you stay in your head where you don't accept yourself for the new version of you, right? Because that's a little mind thing that happens with people, and I experience that sometimes, where it's like, oh, I'm working out, I feel really great, I have all these great muscles, and then I start to feel guilty, like I'm not allowed to have them, I'm not allowed to enjoy them because of who I used to be. So my ass always used to be big, and I always hated my ass because it was so big, and it was just fat. It was fat. It was all body fat, and it's because I always gained weight first in my lower body, and I lost it last in my lower body. So other areas were changing, but that always kind of stayed really big, and it was always very frustrating, and I hated buying pants and all these things. Very self-conscious of it. I couldn't even fit into an airline seat once. I had to squeeze in, and I almost cried. It was awful. It was awful. So now this is like, I'm really enjoying that. It's still big, but it's by definition because I've built it with muscle, and it's a very different sensation. You learn to love yourself no matter what you look like physically, but don't feel guilty if you've changed and you're still struggling with it, right? It's always a process. It's always a process. Have an amazing Saturday. Peace out. Yeah. I thought I could have just ended it there and signed off and things wouldn't have been weird, but naturally, as I say every single time, I need to make things awkward, right? I have to make things awkward. It's just what I do. It's just what I do. Have an amazing day, everybody. Bye.